I saw Wallace talking to his friend and coach off stage and maybe getting some words of wisdom and some words of encouragement. Not Afraid looking dialed in here as we're getting ready for game number 1.
We've talked a lot about how Tribe did pretty good in the Clash of Clans World Finals.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, yeah.
So
I believe Rich.
So a couple nights out in each direction here as they both pause for a moment and try to decide how they want to respond. Wallace happy to poison that knight in Tombstone, and why not get the Princess Tower too?
We've seen a lot of bowler action today. Yeah. I mean, we're going to see it again and again. E-Giant and the Goblin Giant just, maybe a little bit of Graveyard too. Wow, bowler is just in every single deck.
Really he is, as we see an aggressive E-Giant here at the bridge. Bowler obviously does a really good job dealing with that Tombstone. A NATO going to come out though instead to try to get that Tombstone off the board. And a really nice defense there by Wallace, at least thus far.
Yeah, the Phoenix is significantly weaker than it was when, at the time of release, it was one of the strongest cards in the game. But when it's not getting attacked by the tower, it's only getting attacked by the Baby Dragon, it's going to clean everything up nicely. So no real counter push from Wallace. And okay, just making sure, I was thinking that there was the possibility that we could have seen that King Tower activation with the NATO plus, whatever troop next to the King Tower. Although, I don't actually know. Maybe he didn't have NATO. Maybe it's my fault. I need to pay attention.
68% to 57% in terms of win rate, but those matches won don't really do service to Not Afraid. That's obviously just in that qualifier that he got second place in after taking down AUK, another former CRL Worlds visitor. And Bowler everywhere because of that little prince.
Wow, and right there, the E-Giant is actually going to push it up, so it's going to reset. Wow, a real tough scenario for Wallace right there. And I don't know if it was on purpose, but the placements right there were beautiful from Not Afraid.
And decent defense here from Wallace. And not a lot has happened thus far in this game other than the two opponents feeling each other out, probably thinking about how they want to try to take advantage of the matchup that they're in.
So we finally see the first offensive push right there. Guardian going to go in front, be able to protect the Little Prince, and a lot of poison value coming in for Wallace. A great first push, and it's not that much damage, but it really is setting the tone. He's going to get the tower down to 2,500.
Yeah, you get an easy cleanup here on the bowler. You're set back to even. You got that graveyard damage in, and perfect timing on Wallace to get that Guardian across the bridge to tank for that graveyard. A little fancy footwork there. Like you said, Josh, doesn't get a whole lot out of it, but he does get the lead. And more poison value as well if he wants to pull the trigger on it.
And right there, the Baby Dragon, I think it retargeted it onto the Bar Barrel instead of the Knight. I was thinking that we were going to see a little bit of Crown Tower chip damage. Instead, Tower down to 2361. And look, even when he's defending it perfectly, that's a graveyard that only got 2 shots. But at the same time, the Bowler's wasted, the Knights are wasted, all of these cards get wasted, and it's going to be sometimes pretty clean defense with just the poison and the Baby Dragon natives.
And Little Prince stays alive in the back there, but then gets taken off the board by that Evo Knight. Evo Knight of Wallace is on the other side trying to work towards that tower, but this E-Giant Bowler combo needs some more attention. E-Giant's going to get some good damage here for Not Afraid.
Well, and one thing to point out is that in his first round, Wallace did make that mistake. You said it on the telestration with the Goblin Gang inside. That time he did not panic. He placed the Knight off to the side, did not get chip damage from the Bowler. That was a great placement, and I think in round 1 he would have made a mistake there.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more calm, a lot more poise from these two players than we saw in their initial matches today, but right now, 23-19, 19-66, neck and neck as Lightning goes off to that right-hand side.
Yeah,
and the Bowler does get a shot on that Tombstone.
Wow, right there, 2 shots right there, no Tombstone in cycle, he can go in. 35 seconds left, we need to see the Lightning. No, not gonna go in with the Lightning, just gonna utilize the E-Giant's chip damage when it splashes onto itself. We need more offense from Not Afraid, perhaps.
17:43, Not Afraid technically in the lead as of when I started speaking, but by the end of this sentence, it looks like Wallace is going to be able to take that lead as well. Aggressive Evo Knight at the bridge, E-Giant in the opposite direction.
Yeah, Wallace just needs to get a graveyard out. That E-Giant is going to do absolutely nothing. That's a pretty massive mistake from Not Afraid. He just needs to defend out.
Yeah. He just needed to defend in lightning. He just needed to defend well in lightning. He could have even went E-Giant on the right-hand side and just stopped that from happening.
Yeah, that's exactly what it should have been. Yeah, Wallace just... Let's see how his confidence will be. Ooh, has anybody said it yet? Is he going to be afraid? Is he
okay?
Going to be afraid heading into game number 2?
Yes. Hear a couple groans in the audience on that one. As it's looking like Hog EQ Archers maybe here. And Tesla comes out. He will always play Tesla in a set. We realized that when we were watching him last night, watching all the gameplay there. Not Afraid loves Tesla, whether it's supposed to be in a deck or it's not. He will find a way to play it in a set.
Yeah, he really believes in it. He'll place it down on the map as soon as he gets it back into cycle. He believes that it's always going to get value, and it sort of looks that way, but I think this comes down again to the differences between the CRCC and the CRL actual games. Just, it doesn't really get the value he needs. He needs troops on the field.
And speaking of troops on the field, AC, when you look at what Not Afraid has in his arsenal already, definitely going to need to add some meat on those bones in terms of the deck that he's got at hand. And I mean, he might just be leaning on delivery then.
Yeah, and right there, good defense, but as it goes along, Wallace, his last 3 cards, we could be seeing the Mega Knight, just in case he was worried about. I mean, really, it's just how prepared are these players for these guys, for the Not Afraids, for the hires right there. Still wondering what the last 3 cards are going to be for Wallace.
And Bandit at the bridge, a high Tesla there, and you know, he loves it for a reason, very well versed in its interactions, but maybe not in the Archer Evos as she gets 2 shots off there, taking the lead for Wallace, 26-12 to 25-41.
Getting the tower down to 25-41. I saw 0.5 HP, and it's still gonna get 500 HP. That is brutal to see if you're Not Afraid.
And continuing to cycle there on the right-hand side is Not Afraid. Another Tesla comes in. That Tesla, though, gets a dash from that Bandit. Ice Spirit perfectly placed. And a fun back and forth here in game number 2.
Yeah, needed to place it down, and right there, Wallace coming in with the Prince, again, getting aggressive, and choosing not to go in with the Mega Knight. Oh my goodness, okay, so it is gonna be Royal Hogs, Earthquake. This looks like this is the exact matchup that Wallace was looking for.
And an MK comes in there, and a Log has to come out. I like the Skellies to take the charge, and then the delivery coming down as Piggies go out on the right-hand side. And Wallace, though, has a great counter push coming in. You see right there, Not Afraid, shaking his head, knowing that this is a lot to deal with. Archer alive and on the Tesla. MK on the tower. Prince pulling Elixir out of the wrong side of the board for Not Afraid. Now Miner goes to the back. Does he have a spell? Arrows are in. And just like that, it feels like the end of Not Afraid's World Finals run.
Down to 576. He's going to go in with the opposite lane. Just an Ice Spirit in response from Not Afraid. But everybody in the crowd knows it. Everybody back home knows it. Wallace is going to try and take that right tower. I mean, Not Afraid. Royal Hogs, quick cycle, going against Mega Knight. Just a lot of cards that are just always going to be defending those Royal Hogs easy.
Yeah, and having the arrows there, great call, obviously, knowing that the Archers were still in play. You have to imagine you're going to run into Evo Archers. You know that the Evo Archers aren't taken care of by the arrows, but going to do a good job on those regular Archers, and that's exactly what gave Wallace a massive lead and adds to it right there.
Good Bandit, gonna place it off to the side so that way it gets the dash.
That's it.
He's not defending this.
And a nice 2 up, 2 down for Wallace, who just a little while ago did not have that signature smile on his face, but very happy to